Okay, recording this video after close trade Monday, 12th of May 2014. Hope you're enjoying your trading. Well, not having anything on the site for a few days, but the last video I had up on Wednesday was saying we're going to crack through 1880 because we'd run out of time on the downside on the cyclical better sine wave indicators, and we took a couple of bites at it. That was Wednesday's trade, and Thursday we tried to get through 1880 and just kind of lost confidence a little bit, but today, bang, we've had a proper crack up through it, up into the 90s. So only 1 million contracts traded. We're above resistance now. I think this is going to run until we get pullback to end of trend because we're breaking into another trend move on the daily chart. Just to recap the indices, you can see they're all starting to turn around. The Russell's the prettiest signal. We had a pullback to end of trend go off for the last couple of days, and we've had real strength as we bounce off that kind of going forward. There's no volume data on the Russell indicator, so that's why better momentum is showing just a flat line here. The Dow looks like the S&P just cracked through resistance there into a trend move. The Nasdaq was a pullback to dirty end of trend. On here you can see the first time around to the lows we had Rambo patterns, amateurs selling it down. Then when we test back to the same type levels, you can see the professionals kind of picking it up kind of down here. The lows of the blue professional bars hold, and we're breaking the highs of those blue professional bars, so they were picking it up down there at that lows. And then the S&P 500 looks like the Emini chart, so a little bit of testing, amateur testing, down bars, bang, we're cracking back up through resistance. So let's see where this kind of travels. We've got to see some kind of blue professional bars active at the highs. The last time we had two sell-offs, we had just weakness, Rambo patterns and lack of demand type patterns into these highs, and then we had panic selling, kind of getting the move going on the downside until the professionals picked it up at the lows. So similarly here, and we pick it up at the lows, we sell down here, pick it up at the lows. So let's wait and see how this kind of plays out with 1 million contracts traded. It's hardly a rush to buy the new highs and get this thing going. It's just the story of no demand that we've had for so long. And then lastly, just on the trend line chart here, you can see we was talking about this congestion zone just bunching up and bunching up. Finally we get a move, and it's been broken to the upside. So where do we go from here? We've certainly got some time to run. So if you look at the highest time frame tick bar charts, the 4,500, 13,000 and 40,500, you can see the 4,500, look, there's the break above 75 overnight on the Sunday evening. Bang, this thing's going. We got to go pull back to end of trend. We've also got to see exhaustion buying, at least on the 4,500 tip bar chart. So that's all kind of, we've got to see all of that kind of play out. And then we've got to see the same thing, pull back to end of trend on the 13,500. So although we're coming up to cyclical resistance, we've got blue professional bars coming in here at the 40,500 tip bar chart until we get those trend moves playing out correctly on those lower time frames. This thing's going to continue up, and the fuel that's got this thing going is exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, testing into the 60s and 70s here, and then we're racing back up. But we've got to see exhaustion type buying on these tip bars before this thing's over. So that's big picture in terms of E-mini. Just want to talk about the dollar index, because I did talk about the big blue professional bars last week as spikes down and up, and how they would end up being kind of continuation trending moves on the currencies. And what's happened in the meantime, so we had this big blue professional bar kind of getting things going on the downside on the dollar index, and we've had a U-turn, primarily driven by the euro. And you can see here's the euro. So I was talking to this blue professional down bar and saying, a spike down like that, when we start breaking above the highs of that, look for a continuation of the trend on the way up. And we got within inches of this 140 really important resistance level here. And then this is all news driven. This is out of the ECB and Draghi and so on. Huge big reversal bar, blue professional bar, followed up with this activity the end of last week. And the dollar index is mirroring that. The largest component of the dollar index is the euro, and so we've had this kind of U-turn pattern. Yeah, we did break to 79, we got through the 79.50 kind of level, and then all of a sudden we got bullish divergence come in and this kind of brace away. The Aussie dollar's reaching a pullback to end of trend kind of signal. I'm just waiting and seeing on this. I could see us kind of keeping going, because this is a U-turn here with blue professional bars kind of going this way. I think we've had a lot of activity in the last few days, so we could have a little bit of a kick back down and testing back down to get this thing for sure. But it is being driven just out of news events and central bank announcements, and everybody's saying the euro's too strong and the euro needs to be weaker and so on. At least in Europe they're saying that. So let's wait and see. It has been a U-turn on this chart. Crude still fairly strong. Dollar index is gold and silver founding a bottom and starting to bounce. So although the dollar indexes seem to be heading higher, the things that you'd expect to be coming down, as in gold, silver and crude, are not necessarily kind of coming down. So let's just wait and see a couple of days, see how this kind of plays out. So last chart I'm going to show you is daily chart of 1500 tip bar chart. Once we have this thing set up, so this was the overnight session where we opened up, kind of got 1880 was such a significant level. Getting through that would cause us to move into a really strong kind of trending move. The reason for getting long into this was we hadn't had exhaustion patterns. We were still breaking above resistance patterns. I know we put in pullback to end of trend. Seemingly we got blue professional bars in there, but the most important thing is getting exhaustion buying. And we had some flush signals kind of early on in the day. We had some severe weakness after this pullback to end of trend here, where people are piling out, but we had not had the exhaustion buy on the upside. That came there. So all of a sudden, we're playing off the sellers getting in too early, selling too early. Bang, we need to see this, and then bearish divergence. Now we're after the 11 o'clock window, so we're just going to play with the highs for the end of the day. So we've got our exhaustion patterns now on 1500, but we had not seen those kind of early in the day. So that's why we're continuing to break through resistance, and this thing is not going to turn over until we've seen that exhaustion buy. That's kind of key principle. It's like it all plays off. All the sellers have to have sold in order for the market to take off to the upside. All the buyers need to have bought for the market to take off to the downside. So I got in actually just before the open at 81 even. Then when we had a little bit of weakness, there was a bot signal. I jumped out at 82.50 for 1.5. Then re-entered on this little bit of weakness here. It was a blue professional down bar on the 500 tip bar chart. It happened to be cyclical support on the 1500, bang, and just took out another 4 on the way up here, so I'll tag on that trade. But it was just going with the flow and knowing that the trend was going to keep going until we saw the exhaustion patterns and bearish divergence start to come in here. So you're good to continue going up, even though we'd seen a couple, 3 actually end of trend signals here. Everything has to kind of come together. All that is showing you on better sine wave with the end of trends is that the trend the move there has lost its steam, and it'll just settle back and then decide what to do. So after this one we settle back and then we continue on. After this one we have quite a lot of settling and then we continue on, and then after this one the 11 o'clock window is shut for reversal, and we're just going to play around with the highs after that. Anyway, hope your trading's going well. I'll tag on that day trade after this, and let's see where we go next. Got a long 82.75. Long 82.75. I know I just jumped out at 82.50, but we have blue professional bars coming here at 82s. 2 of them, just catching that low. Resistance becomes support, bouncing off that. We've got cyclical support in, so we'll have we'll have that behind us. If that gets broken, both of those simultaneously, then we're going the other way. But so far we're coming back up. Okay, good. Let's see where it goes. Alright, we blasted through 85s. This is the activity I was looking for a blow-off move. Starts to pick up speed, go exponential. Target's 86.75 before. We've already got 1.5 on the first trade, so if I get taken out on this next one, that'll be good. A couple of flush patterns, but looking for an exhaustion pattern and blue professional bars, so come on, let's have another push back up. It's exhaustion, bearish flush on 500, but we didn't see blue professional bars come in here. I think that'll be end of trend though. Come on, let's go for another little rush up. 86 evens, come on. Still waiting for a bit more of a signal. We've had end of trend go off. I'm at a down bar, so a little bit too early. Come up through 86s. My original target on the first trade was 86 even, and that would have got taken out for 5. So here we go. I'm at up bars, so it's kind of weak heading up. But if we go through 86 and a quarter, we'll have another little rush. those are the only blue professional bars so far on 1500. Taken out, finally. Didn't get taken out on the first push up to 675, just got taken out on that second push. Excellent for 4. So with the 1.5 on the first trade, 5.5, 2 trades. Excellent. 8:48 AM, and the end of trend's gone off. There's no blue professional bars, no exhaustion, no pro signal exit or anything like that. It's just a Rambo pattern there. It's kind of yeah. So we're at 86s though, 87s. Yeah, whoo, there we go. Just got blasted through. So I thought 1880 there. Now finally, blue professional bars coming in. 87s. And we're going to go towards an exhaustion pattern. So knew the 1880s were going to go. The first time last week we went through them, we got rejected. Well, we blasted through, but then a lot of selling came in. We had another go. Now we're through it properly. So see what the end of the day ends up being. Good.